Okay, so on this question, we are taking the limit as x goes to 3 of this function. Now, a good place to start, it won't always work, won't even usually work, but it's good to start. Put in a 3, because if that, just try plugging it in, right? Because we're saying, hey, what this function as x gets really close to 3, what happens to it? Sometimes that works, and so you're done real quick. It won't work this time. But let me show you. So just plug in the 3, plug in right away. You can see there's a problem, right? Zero's on the bottom. The top is also going to be 0, it turns out. So we get 0 over 0. What does that mean? That's unclear. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but let me write that better. That's unclear. To get 0 over 0, we're not sure what that means. If you have 0 in the top of a fraction only, like 0 over 3, that's just 0. But if you have 0 in the bottom of a fraction only, that's infinity, right? Because 3 goes into 0 0 times, 0 goes into 3 infinite times. So if you have 0 top and bottom, is it 0 or is it infinity? We just don't know. It's just unclear. So that means you got to try something else. It didn't work. What are you going to try? Well, what we really want to do now is we want to try to reduce this fraction right here. And there's a couple of ways we can do that. You can do long division if you want, or synthetic division. That'd work fine. I'm just going to factor the top. So x squared plus 2x minus 15. I'm going to factor. What does factor mean? Factor means like the two parentheses, right? Find out what multiplies. Remember that? Let me go over here and just refresh your memory real quick because I know factoring is something that many students have told me they don't remember well. And it is super important in calculus that you get good at factoring because it's just everywhere. So let me remind you. Remember how when you multiply out two parentheses, like just 2x plus 2x plus 3. Remember, well, here, let me start simple. What if you just have a 2 in front? What does that do? Well, it just distributes, son. It's just 2x plus 6, right? That 2 multiplies both those. Okay, right? So then what if you have like an x plus 2 and an x plus 3? What if you have two things like that? Well, first the x goes to both, and then the 2 goes to both. They take turns. They both distribute. So first the x times x squared, x times 3, 3x, and then the 2 to the x, 2x, and then the 2 to the 3, 6. And then these two in the middle make 5x. And there we go. So that's how you multiply two numbers and two numbers, right? They're called binomials, binomial, binomial. Well, and so now what we're trying to do is work backwards. We're trying to go from this back to this, right? We're starting here, right up here. We have the result. We're saying, hey, what goes here, 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 and here, so that it would multiply out and go back to become x squared plus 2x minus 15. Well, think about it backwards. It's what we just did is called FOIL. Remember that? FOIL. The F means front or first times first. The L means last times last, 2 times 3 made 6. Okay, and then how'd you get the middle? From two things, O and I, from the 3 and the 2 added to make the middle 5. So that's what we get. Just think it backwards. Just I'm going to write FOIL, and I'm going to go, okay, here we go. First times first to make x squared. Well, that's x times x, okay? And I'm going to jump to the last. What times what makes 15? Now, 3 times 5. Don't worry about the negative. We'll get to that in a minute. Just 3 times 5 makes 15. Multiplies to be 15. Now, the middle term, how do we make the 2? Well, do you remember this? The sign in the middle always goes on the bigger. The middle goes to the bigger number. I mean, 5 is a bigger number than 3, right? So that plus sign goes there. Now, what about the other sign? The other sign can be plus or minus. It could be either way. How do we know what it is? Well, we need plus 2 here in the middle. How are we going to get plus 2? Well, this has got to be minus 3, right? Plus 5 minus 3 is plus 2. And they multiply to be minus 15. You can check it. You don't have to check it, not required. But let me just prove it to you. If I was to multiply this out, it'd be x squared plus 5x, and then boom, boom, minus 3x minus 15. And that's what? 5 minus 3 is 2x minus 15. Check. See how it goes back to be the same as that? Okay. So all that said, now let me come back over here and erase this and finish up this problem. We have factored the top. Remove all this plug-in business. So now we know that this equals the limit as x goes to 3, excuse me, the top has become this. This is the factored version of the top. It's x minus 3, x plus 5, whoops, x plus 5 over, and the bottom is still just x minus 3. So we factored the top into those two parentheses. And now, can you see what's going on? These guys are going to cancel. You see, they were what was making the 0 over 0, right? So if you put in 3 there, that's 0 and that's 0. That's why we were getting 0 over 0. Well, they cancel out now. And now it just becomes the limit as x goes to 3 of what? X plus 5. It's all we have left. So now you can plug in the 3. It's 3 plus 5. It's just 8. That's the answer to the problem, as it says right there. That's the answer. So basically, you take the top and you factor it with the two parentheses, and then these cancel. That's what was causing the 0 over 0 problem. You just have x plus 5, plug in the 3 now. Now you can plug in the 3, and there's our answer. And that's how we do that, factor the top.